Howdy. Today we're looking at Chroma Post-Jade Shadows changes and how he's pretty decent now, I'd say. This video is specifically for that one guy that loves Chroma. I've only seen him once. He left like a comment on one of my videos one time and was in one of my streams for like 10 minutes. But if you're still here, this is for you. Big Daddy Chroma, the Dragon Boy. He's quite snazzy, and some of his problems have been fixed with some changes that we've gotten. First, let me show my snazzy Chroma fashion for anyone that might be interested. So, Chroma, I'm going to assume people already know how Chroma works for the most part, the general gist of his abilities, because let's be honest here, if you're playing Chroma, you're probably one of the people that's been playing him like 5 years, right? The very few Chroma players are pretty dedicated and they know how he works for the most part, right? Like, passive, pretty wonky, Spectral Scream kind of sucks ass. Elemental Ward has some value, Vex Armor's snazzy, better than people say, and his 4 exists. You can't make his 4 do damage, but in this build I've subsumed it off of Pillage. So Chroma has one big issue when it comes to when you're doing like really high level stuff. Because that's where I feel like Chroma really excels, is he gives a lot of damage, which is nice for when you're trying to do like endurance runs or level cap stuff and you just don't have enough damage or you just want easier kills. So he's got the damage for that, except the problem is he lacks survivability. On the low end, he's really tanky because he has so much armor and you can build him for HP and stuff. But on the high end, armor and HP don't scale well, so you're pretty much screwed. So Pillage is the obvious go-to because you can armor strip, which is something he needs, and you can get your shields back. Now, previously, this did have the slight issue of you needed to have enough strength 328 plus corrosive projection to get a full strip, but a full strip is not nearly as important as it used to be. It's still nice, but it's not as important as it was before Jade Chow. So partial strip is perfectly fine. I know you're going to want to build high strength on him anyways. Like if I had Archon shards, I'd be at over 320 anyways, but this just makes it easier to build him in general. We also got Guardian Armor, which got buffed or changed and fixed with some interactions since it got released in Dante and Bound. Like it can actually proc Archon Intensify now. I'm not using Archon Intensify, but if that's what you want, you can make it work. The problem is you can't proc Archon Intensify and recast Vex Armor because Vex Armor snapshots, right? So you can't get that extra strength unless you do some funky stuff. But I don't care for it. I'd rather just have Umbral Intensify, especially because I have 2 Umbral Forma on my guy already. We also, in Jade Shao's, got Arcane Battery, which is nice because you get a ton of armor on Chroma. So if I run this, I can have way more energy than I would with Prime Flow while saving a mod slot, because mod slots on Chroma are more important than Arcane slots, I feel. You could run Arcane Avenger if you wanted, and also have maxed out combat discipline because you're getting all your healing back, all your health back from Guardian Armor. But I don't do that because I need energy in this Pillage build. Because when you're spamming Pillage at 77.5 energy per cast, you really need energy. So our energy is fixed by Equilibrium and Arcane Energize. We have unbelievably high energy cap with Arcane Battery. We'll be able to get that full 1000. And he already has 200, so we'll have 1200 energy. That's a fair bit, I'd say. Corrosive Projection pillages the armor stripping. We get the damage buff from Vex Armor. We have our Elemental Ward, which I will be using Toxin for the most part. You can switch because we still have Spectral Scream, so you can switch to one of the other ones if you wanted. But I like Toxin because it gives a reload buff. I know a lot of people usually run like Cold or Heat or Electric. I actually never see Toxin chromas. But Toxin, look at this. 144% reload speed. I think that's pretty nice. You get a lot of reload speed, and the holster damage is just more damage. Even though it doesn't last long, it is another source of a damage buff. So, Prime Sure-Footed, just so we don't get knocked down. Prime Redirection, so we have a bigger shield gates, because we want a big-ass shield gate, so when we get all of our shields back from Pillage, we go longer without being screwed over. Obviously, we want high strength, which is why we have Umbral Intensify, Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude. You don't need the extra armor from Umbral Fiber, not even for Arcane Battery, because we'll get so much from Vex Armor. But I can't really fit something else in this build because I have 2 Umbral Forma. Actually, I suppose most people aren't going to have 2 Umbral Forma, or at least a lot of people, so here, we'll remove that, and I can actually switch this out then. So instead, you could run, where is it? Vexing Retaliation instead. Oh, you can't run it with Guardian Armor. I didn't know that. Yeah, never mind. Completely ignore what I just said. You could go with Everlasting Ward if you wanted, just because then you can help your allies more, but I don't really care about my allies. They can get clapped. You can go for more of a support build by going more range, stretch, because we don't have negative range, and that will make it so we have 26.1 meter radius to give the damage buffer to our teammates. Now, Guardian Armor is really nice for Chroma to have because he didn't have it before. He can take some damage from his teammates, and he can heal on kills, heal himself and his teammates, and most importantly, every kill you get extends the duration of Vex Armor by 1 second. That is incredible. It does not scale with strength or duration or any stats, so it's always going to be 1 second. It means we don't need to max out our duration. And that means we don't have to run narrow-minded, which means we don't have to nuke our range, which means now our teammates will actually benefit from our buffs sometimes. So, that helps our blueberries more than it would normally. So, that's nice. Well, you don't have to build into range if you don't want to. So, instead of that, if you are not going for like level cap, you could run adaptation. And of course, Hunter Adrenaline doesn't work for level cap stuff, but you can use it normally. Where is the mod I'm actually looking for though? Nexus is okay. Why? Oh, duh, because I'm not looking far enough. I'm dumb. Where is it? Here we go. Or just Augur Secrets for even higher strength, because, strength is always nice. So we have the survivability, we have the damage, we've got some level of support. We don't have to worry about our duration because Guardian Armor, it's just very nice. We didn't have Battery in the past, we didn't have Guardian Armor in the past, and in the Dante Unbound, I know that happened a while ago, but in that update, they made it so you can actually build your Vex Armor with kills. Armor is boosted from your melee kills and damage boosted from your range kills, so you don't have to take damage to build it up. So that's a lot of his problems fixed already. He does still have a worthless passive, and his first and fourth ability are lackluster, though you can make his fourth ability do some damage, and I will do a video having that do some funny stuff at some point, but not right now. The reason I subsumed over his one is just so that if I need to or if I want to, I can switch my elements so that I can go for a different elemental ward depending on what I want in the moment. So this is pretty straightforward, right? Not too much to it. If we spawn in these enemies, cast our Vex Armor, it's not even going to do anything yet, but that's fine. I didn't show what I have on my Arcoplasmor, but I can show that in a minute here. Look at that. Every kill increases the duration of Vex Armor. Now, Vex Armor goes up to a pretty high damage. Look at that, 885%. Holy shite. That's a lot of damage. And now he can just demolish everything. And again, armors are relevant because we just strip it all away. Almost all of it is gone in a single cast. Now you just shoot down the horde and they all die. I think Chroma's pretty snazzy. And if you're not doing endurance runs, he's actually one of the tankiest frames in the game. So you can have like pretty much 100% uptime on your Vex Armor and never die and make your teammates tankier and give them buffs when you're close to them. So he's actually a really good support frame as well. And you can always just recast Vex Armor again as well if you're not getting kills fast enough. That is an option. And then, like I said, the reload speed from Toxin is fairly nice to have. It is much better than not having it, if you ask me. Now, oh yeah, I was like, why don't I have the extra energy from battery? It's because I didn't get melee kills. You have to get melee kills to build up that part of Vex armor. So let's get some melee kills. Now look at how high our energy is. Let's come back over here. 1,300 energy. I'd say that's pretty good. That is a very, very large energy pool, which means we can comfortably spam pillage as much as we want. And because we have Energize and Equilibrium, we should be able to build our energy pool back up fairly quickly. Chroma, in case you didn't know, Vex armor, it is additive. Now, that's something most people know, right? It is additive to Serration and other base damage buffs, like Prime Point Blank, okay? However, it is multiplicative on any gun that has multiplicative gun CO, which means something like Arcaplasmor, which has multiplicative gun CO. That makes this multiplicative with base damage mods, so it's even better. There's not a ton of guns in the game that are like that, but there's quite a few. Like Arcaplasmor is pretty insane, and it's multiplicative on that. Prisma Angstrom, it's got multiplicative gun CO, or where is it? Paris Incarnon, multiplicative gun CO. Dread Incarnon has multiplicative gun CO. Latrin Prime has multiplicative gun CO, both on the normal and Incarnon mode. Granted, the Incarnon mode is doing most of its damage from an AoE, which does not benefit from it, but it's still there. Still a thing that can give you lots of damage. There's plenty of weapons that you can use with multiplicative gun CO to do some chunky damage. Scourge Prime actually also has a multiplicative gun CO, one of my favorite weapons. You can make this thing insanely strong with him. Also, it's just a fun weapon. Yeah, I just wanted to, like, you know, show or talk about that he has lots of stuff now. Also, another thing is his damage buffs are multiplicative on glaive weapons, glaive explosions. So you can make glaives do massive amounts of damage with this. So let's come over here. I've got a pretty insane build on my Serata. You can see I can one-shot these guys with the Tox. But let's cast Vex armor. Oh yeah, I forgot I have Scourge on now instead of Arcaplasmor. 434%, that's enough of a damage buff. Again, because it's multiplicative, I'm going to just decimate these guys now. So now look at this. Easily one-shotting them. So Chroma works extremely well with glaives. And again, any weapon that has any sort of like multiplicative gun CO, it's just going to make them do massive amounts of damage. Now, I don't think it should be the case that you need a helmet ability on a Warframe, but since you helmet off one of his, either his 1 or his 4, an Elemental Ward is actually really nice, or at least in my opinion it is. Realistically, Chroma only has one bad ability because you're always going to put a helmet on him. Again, I don't think that should be the case. That it honestly should not be an argument, but let's be honest, with how Warframe is, that's the case for a lot of Warframes. So you only have one ability that's not doing much for you. And in that case, you can still have some value. Even though your 1 is pretty terrible, if you subsume off your 1 and go for your 4 instead to keep as the ability that you want, it is still useful. Where is it? Oh yeah, I want to talk about Ophanim Eyes in a second here. So, the damage it does isn't that great, but infinitely more importantly than the damage that it does is that it does give you a movement speed increase. It's not much, right? It's 20%. But it also draws aggro. It can die, but you can have it draw aggro, and you're faster. And losing your armor is irrelevant if you are doing any sort of like level cap or endurance content. Because, well, as I said earlier, and I've said many times before, and so have many other people, armor and health do not work in level cap or endurance content. If the enemy's above like level 1000, you're not going to health tank them. It's just not going to happen 99% of the time. So being able to have extra movement speed with basically no downside since it doesn't matter that you lose half your armor, while also having something that draws aggro is pretty nice. And on top of that, there's another benefit to it. Now, this is fairly niche, but it is something that can matter. It is a channeled ability, right? So if I cast this, you can see it's constantly draining energy, which means anything that needs to have a channel ability active to proc will work, specifically in card evolutions, like Brat and Prime, for example. Daring Reverie increased base damage by +4, but while a channeled ability is active, you get another 38 base damage. That's a fair bit of extra base damage onto the weapon. That's going to be like a 33% total damage increase in your Incarnon form. That is a non-negligible amount of damage increase. And there are some other Incarnon weapons that have similar evolutions. I can't remember any of the other ones off the top of my head. I know I own at least one or two other ones that have that, but I've got a terrible memory. I just know that's a thing. So, you can easily proc that by having your 4 ability active. And if you decide you don't want to go with Toxin, wait, dang it, I literally just said not Toxin, I cast it. If you don't want to go with Toxin, you can go for a different element, and whatever element you are is whatever the element is sprayed by your Effigy. Now, it may not do a lot of damage, but you can go for something like cold or electric or heat. Like, let's say we go electric for our dude. Well, now, not only do we get extra movement speed and it draws aggro, but he can shoot electricity at the enemy. And said electricity can stun the enemy, which gives us even more survivability. Look at that. Do you see that big-ass radius? And then he can also boop enemies away. That can be annoying at times, but he can apply electric onto these enemies. It's fairly good. Now, sometimes he bugs out. This is probably mostly because we're in the simulacrum, but look at that. He screams. The roar just stuns all of them. And if he would actually not suck, he would be applying electric right now. Again, he can do that. He's just not... Why is he dealing Toxin right now? What the fuck? Well, my game's being weird. You get the point, though, right? He has a big roar that stuns enemies. He can apply electric if you have electric or heat and stuff, which can stun or, like, fear enemies. And on top of that... Wait, there was something else I was going to say about it. Crap, what was it? Your boy has already forgotten what the other thing I was going to say about it doing. Is it because... It had to do with it being electric. Crap, what was it? Stuns. Applies... Oh, yeah, it applies he can apply the element. That means you can have another element for, like, Condition Overload or Guncio on your weapons. Like, if you don't have electric on your weapon, he can apply electric. If you don't have heat on your weapon, he can apply heat. So, some level priming. I know it's like some serious levels of coping, but it's not totally worthless, as people say it is. It does do at least something. It does more than a lot of abilities on other Warframes that are useless. So it at least can have a little bit of value. I still think Chroma needs some reworks, don't get me wrong. I would love it if his 4 ability actually was really good. And his first ability wasn't borderline worthless, and they made it so switching elements was tied to his tapping his second ability. And didn't have a bad passive. I know that's a lot of bad stuff, but I think all of the positives Chroma has can help negate that, right? Like, he's extremely tanky, near invincible. He gives humongous damage buffs, both to yourself and your teammates. He gives nice support buffs to himself and potentially to teammates if you run the augment from his 2. He can give crowd control and stuff from his 4. He's just got a lot going for him. He's a comfortable, easy Warframe to play, and I think he's really good for, like, lower level players especially as well. He's just very, very nice to have and to play. One day, he'll be meta again. Just you wait. Watch. They're going to make his 4 just do, like, massive big PP dragon damage everywhere, and then everyone's going to be a Chroma main. I can foresee it now. That's pretty much it. I'm sure there's a lot more stuff I don't know about Chroma. And if there's any, like, raging Chroma mains out there, make sure to leave some stuff you know about him or you like about him or different builds you like with him in the comments. Oh, and before I go, there is this really cool build video that was just posted yesterday, I believe. Or at least at the time of recording this, it was posted yesterday. I don't know when I'll post this video. By a YouTuber by the name of Unified Codex. He's a smaller YouTuber. He's got like 3,000 subscribers, and he did a video about energy tanking with quick thinking on Chroma. Now, it does again suffer by not working if you were to do level cap, but in most content, honestly, it's enough tanking. You could probably tank even to like level 2,000 enemies. It's pretty cool, and I'm actually kind of mad I didn't think of it. It's actually a really, really cool idea. So if you like Chroma stuff, definitely go check out Unified Codex's Chroma video for energy tanking. That's going to be it. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. Adios.